Hello, everyone. This is me, Artist, again, and I just wanted to make a somewhat quick video, just discussing my thoughts on the debate and the situation around Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act. We had quite an issue regarding that for the government shutdown that happened in 2025, and because of that, that's what the Democrats were standing on in Congress, on how they were going to give their support to the Republican Party to reopen the government if the Affordable Care Act credits was renewed. And so I did do a little research upon the Affordable Care Act, and it was a law that was signed in 2010 under former President Barack Obama, and it basically looked like it's just the federal government giving money to the insurance companies. They pay for the premiums for taxpayers or for patients, and they can shop for their health care plans through the government marketplace, and most of their insurance costs would be covered by the government. And I'm actually surprised it went on this long, and I guess that's where Democrats were digging their feet in Congress on wanting to reopen the government, and they've made it a very point to rally behind even recently. And what I don't understand is that, for one, Democrats, especially in Congress, have always been the ones talking about being against big business and how, the rich and the billionaires are now the evil people, and they're the ones that's, behind all the problems in America. They don't pay their fair share. Billionaires and big business are just, the enemy of the people, basically. And yet, from what it seems, the Affordable Care Act basically pays these big insurance companies, these health insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies, a boatload of taxpayer money to cover the costs of these high costs that Americans have to pay for healthcare. Now, I actually am very supportive of Democrats when it comes to addressing the high healthcare that we have in this country, and I do think it's something that should be dealt with. And I do think that it's immoral to allow people to basically not have access to health care or to die, basically, because they don't have the money to pay for it, or spend the rest of their lives in debt paying for the health care that they did receive. And so I actually agree with them that that's a problem that should be fixed. What I don't agree with is, the solution or their method of going about it. And it's very concerning that their only solution seems to be, which is to throw more money at the insurance companies. Just throw more taxpayer money at the insurance companies and, have them continue to pay for it. And I don't understand that, because that's something that should be an enigma to them. That's something that should be, that's not really helping the little person. That's benefiting big business. And I don't understand that, to be honest. I think what we should be doing is addressing the root cause of why our health care is so expensive. Now, as a Republican myself, I am a believer in the free market theology. I am a capitalist at heart. But I do think there's some ethical guardrails that should be put there. And I definitely think that making drugs and stuff, the prices of drugs, which some people really do need, and making these prices of drugs like 200 to 1,000%, above the price, just raising the price to these extreme levels is just completely wrong. And I don't think that that's something that we as capitalists should be okay with. I'm also not okay with people not being able to get procedures and stuff done. I also would like to know why. We as Americans don't seem to be asking, and it definitely seems our representatives in Congress are not asking the question, like, why does an ambulance ride cost over $1,000 when, taking an Uber with the same distance costs significantly less? Why does a procedure, like a heart procedure or any type of surgery in general, why does that cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars? Like, what is that cost covering? Is it covering just of doing the surgery? And I will admit, I'm not an expert in how, the medical field work when it comes to like cost of surgery and stuff like that. But it seems really odd to me that, these procedures are just super expensive, and there really is no justification for it. There's no answer to us, the people, on why these healthcare costs are that expensive in the first place. And that's what I would like Democrats to, I would join with them, and I would urge Republicans to join Democrats in finding out why our healthcare is so expensive. But I think we kind of all know that, both Republicans, some Republicans and Democrats are in the pockets of these insurance companies, and they're paying them basically to look the other way. Because why there's no legislation on this is beyond me. Why is that legal for these companies to charge this amount of money to people just to survive, just to get the medicine they need, just to have a surgery, just to get in an ambulance ride, to get to the hospital? None of that is justifiable to me. And, I think that is a disgrace that our representatives in Congress are not doing more to combat this. If they really want to get to the heart of, fixing the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare, then they really should be trying to put legislation in place to stop these insurance companies from having these expensive prices in the first place. I mean, Congress is supposed to be looking out for the people they represent. And the fact that their solution so far has just been, let's just throw more government money to pay for these rising costs, when there's no justification about it to the citizens of this country. There's no justification or explaining why this stuff is so expensive, but they just want to keep throwing more taxpayer money at this stuff without actually fixing the root cause of why this stuff is expensive in the first place, and use the power of the government to bring this stuff down. It's odd to me they want to use the, Democrats especially, and some Republicans too, want to use the levers of government to force compliance on other agendas, But for some reason, we can't use the power of the government to put a check on these insurance and pharmaceutical companies on the just ridiculously stupid prices that they're charging people for. And I hope that the people of this country will become more knowledgeable about that, and that they will start asking questions. Why is our stuff this expensive in the first place? What's the justification for this? Is this cost going for the upkeep of an ambulance? Is this going for the equipment that's in the ambulance? Is the thousands and thousands of dollars we're paying for surgeries just because the doctor is doing a surgery? What is the reason for this? And we need to really start asking some serious questions about this. And if we seriously want to fix the Affordable Care Act, we need to get to the root of why this is happening in the first place and why we are even in this situation, and then use legislation and the executive branch to enforce compliance of these insurance companies and make sure that they're not causing people to have to die basically because they can't afford surgery or medication that they may need. And I think it's time we the people actually find out what's really going on here and hold those accountable who are not holding these insurance companies and these pharmaceutical companies accountable. This is Artis Jackson with Let's Talk. Thank you. Have a blessed day, and I will see you in the next episode.